Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and some more Victory at Sea coverage. We're moving on with coverage on the motor torpedo boats. Check out part one of our series where we just kind of got some of the basics out of the way. Today we're going to take a look at the rest, which will include the gunnery phase, strafing aircraft, and then kamikaze attacks as well. So let's dive right in. But actually, before that, guys, if you make sure to smash that like and subscribe, helps keeps the channel going and growing. And also, if you guys could drop us a comment, let us know how you've been running MTB so far and how they've played out in your games. All right, let's jump in here. So, attacking with MTB sections. So, to attack a ship, you must move into base contact with the target ship model during the movement phase to show that you're engaging that particular ship. Also, just helps keep the kind of the chaos of a larger game down, where you know like who's targeting what. So, base contact there, guys. Up to a maximum of 4 MTB sections, any type. Again, we have a limited amount of types right now. I'm sure we're getting more as the game progresses and further waves get released. So max 4 ships attacking a single ship in one turn or same turn. A player may nominate to attack with their MTB section in place of nominating a ship to fire with at any point during the gunnery phase when it is their turn to nominate a ship. If a player does nominate their MTB sections, instead of a ship, they attack with all the MTB sections they have in play, regardless of how many different ships they are engaged with. So keep that in mind. So it's almost like a super activation. If you're running a lot of MTBs, you're going to have to use all of them at the same time, which is good and bad. Especially if you're ganging up with a lot of them on a ship, you're definitely going to get sort of volume of fire and dice and stuff like that. But of course, there'll be times where it'd be more advantageous, if you could, attack with 1 or 2 here or there, wait for other things to happen, and then attack later. But basically, everything is going to be doing it at once, kind of like the movement phase. They have their own separate movement phase, which we covered in the previous video. So, all MTB sections attacks are considered to be simultaneous, but for convenience, obviously resolve them one engagement at a time, and resolve all weapon systems attacks as normal, with all attacks considered basically at point blank range, because hey, you're in base contact, and these MTBs had to get close to do their thing. So, shooting at them now, though. So they can only be attacked by light guns and AA batteries from ships and or bombs dropped from aircraft, but we'll see strafing in just a second. So attackers never get the large silhouette bonus for attacking them side on. They're just too small. It makes sense, right? They're too small, they're too fast, they're too maneuverable for the bigger guns to really get trained on them anyway. And really, they're so small they really couldn't be considered to have a flank or a broadside. If enemy MTB sections are in range, a ship's AA battery weapons are fired automatically at the end of the movement phase, as with AA battery weapons used against aircraft. So that's pretty cool as well. So this happens outside, key thing there, always pay attention to that, happens outside of the normal turn sequence, and is because the ship's crew are expecting battle in mortar torpedo boats, will rarely have an easy time trying to attack a ship. You're not just going to let these things run up on you, especially when they're, most of them are carrying torps and stuff. So when targeting enemy MTB sections, roll the attack dice of AA battery weapons as normal, and you can split those freely among multiple MTB sections if so desired, and aircraft too. So your AA gunners aren't stupid in that sense. They'll they can multitask in that sense. So some can deal with the planes coming in, some can deal with small torpedo craft, etc. So that's a very nice feature there. You're not limited by that. Armor then. So if an MTB section has been hit, damage dice are rolled against its armor as normal. No modifier for AP, basically because they don't really have armor in that sense. AA battery weapons roll 1 damage dice for every successful attack that hits, and if a damage dice rolls higher than the MTB section's armor, the MTB section is destroyed and removed immediately. Again, they're basically small boats, right? Not really anything in the way of armor. If the damage dice rolls equal the armor score, then it survives the attack, but it's basically been driven off, so it immediately loses any one-shot weapons it was carrying. So, if you didn't get your torps off or anything like that, well, unfortunately, too bad. Those will be gone. So it's nice that they can potentially hang around a little bit, if they still have like other guns on them, but it's a nice effect there to sort of deprive them probably of their most damaging weapon. All right, well, how do aircraft interact with them then, guys? So, MTB sections can attack nearby aircraft with their AA battery weapons using the usual rules. However, they're incredibly susceptible to aircraft attack, even those not normally used in ground attack roles. Um, so, an MTB section may be attacked by a flight using bombs as normal, but any flight, even one that has expended its weaponry, may make strafing attacks against them. So, again, these are small boats. Yes, they're fast, maneuverable, but planes diving on them, machine guns and cannons will tear them up. So, then a strafing attack uses the following characteristics and may only be used against MTB sections. So, we'll take a look at that in just a moment, guys. Next up are smoke screens. So, another little trick that these guys have. Some MTB sections carry smoke dischargers or smoke floats, as noted in the description, and basically they can deploy that smoke screen. So any section capable of doing that can do so at the end of its movement, and it lasts until the end of the turn. However, it can do this only once per game, so you don't get like infinite uses of this, and basically helps also prevent people from spamming this over and over again, which could really get out of hand if it was every turn. An enemy attacking an MTB section that deploys its smoke screen will have all successful attack dice re-rolled, so you can still connect with them. You're just going to get some re-rolls out of that. So seems, at least initially here on paper, relatively fair, but of course getting it in the game is going to be a different story altogether. All right, so last up here are the Kamikaze Attacks, and then we'll take a look at strafing and Kamikaze here specifically on the chart. So some boats, specifically mainly the Japanese, the Shinyo and the Italian MT boat, were purpose-designed suicide craft. So they use all the previous rules that we just covered, but kamikazes as well. So that attack is declared in the movement phase with, again, the MTB section moving into contact. AA battery fire is resolved as normal, but any local fire gets a +1 bonus to its attack dice. However, once all that's been resolved, the MTB section rolls to hit its target due to the accuracy of being piloted right up to the last moment. Any missed attack dice here get to be re-rolled. So these guys are going to be pretty deadly if they survive the defensive fire. All normal attack modifiers are applied except those for range, which is ignored because you're literally touching the boat to explode. Damage is then applied as shown below. The section is removed naturally. In case that wasn't obvious, right? You suicided, so the boat's not going to be there. So whether or not you successfully hit, so there's no do-overs with kamikaze attacks, right? So strafing here gives you an idea here. So AP +4, pretty nasty, right? But again, you're diving on small boats with really no armor, right? And weren't really designed to take punishment. Kamikazes here, 1 attack dice, 2 damage dice, but devastating in one shot, as you might expect. So certainly pretty nasty, and again, in waves, certainly they could swarm or overwhelm certain ships, and is definitely a viable tactic. So naturally, everyone's going to think about the Japanese ships for that, but as we saw here, right, the Italians have access to something like that too. So one more trick for the Regia Marina that they can deploy there. So something that probably will catch an opponent off guard, maybe at least once, but by then or after that, you should really, be aware of what the Italians can do there. So that basically wraps up the MTBs, guys. So small but very interesting and useful ships. They don't have any specific missions of their own in the book, but certainly you could come up with something along the lines of the subs or something similar, and just tweak those missions a little bit. So check our other videos on the submarine missions for some ideas there, guys. But again, let us know in the comments what you think of MTBs, how you've used them so far, any changes you would make, or any other things you'd like to see. Be happy to hear from you guys, and don't forget, again, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do feel like supporting the channel a little bit more, guys, check that link in the description. There's a link over to Warlord. Anything you guys pick up there will help support us a little bit. Appreciate everybody who's been doing that. Thanks so much for hanging out, guys, and we will see you in the next one.